Hey, what is up guys? In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can quickly screen for stocks and ETFs using the GlobalAnalyst feature provided by Interactive Brokers. This is great because 1. You can check whether a certain stock or ETF across different regions is traded on Interactive Brokers or not. And 2. You can get a snapshot of the high-level numbers of the company or the ETF, all without logging into your Interactive Brokers platform, which we all know is not the best experience out there if I'm being totally honest. Anyways, let's jump straight into the platform. You can click into the link that I will put in my description box below, or just find them on Google. Should be pretty simple. Right away, you should be able to see that there are a bunch of filters you can choose, but don't worry, let's go through them one by one. At the top, you can search by filters or companies. I would just recommend you to skip the companies tab because it is just the typical way of searching for stocks and get a high-level comparison. Feel free to explore this, but for now, we will search by filters. Regions, you can click these to select all regions, but if you have a rough idea of where the stocks or ETFs are being traded at, you can obviously choose them individually or select a few of them. So it's a pretty neat way of aggregating all of them within a few clicks. Asset class, you can choose between stocks or ETFs, up to you. Industry, you get to select up to 10 different industries for stocks, and for ETFs, you have this additional mix button where you can screen for multiple industries. So this is a great way to look for diversified ETFs like the S&P 500 index, the Nasdaq 100 index, the Russell 2000 index, and etc. For currency, you can choose up to 28 different currencies to show your results. So if you are comparing, say, the S&P 500 ETFs that are domiciled in the United States as well as in the island, this is a quick and dirty way for you to see what's their average unit price in one single currency. Pretty neat if you ask me. Anyways, backtrack a little bit. If you selected the stocks asset class, you will also need to choose the market capitalization of the stocks that you are searching for. If you are not familiar, market cap refers to the total market value of the company, and it can typically be categorized over 5 categories, ranging from the largest mega cap companies like Apple and Google down to the smallest micro cap stocks, which are typically penny stocks. So let's say I want to look at the US tech stocks with a large to mega market cap. Click into view results and you should be able to see the result where they show you a few high-level parameters. You have company name, ticker, country, and sector. Pretty self-explanatory. Price, this is the unit share price shown in the currency that you have selected earlier, so US dollar in this case. Market cap, I've just talked about it. EV, this is enterprise value. You will seldom hear people talking about enterprise value because this is not a commonly used term in the stock market, but rather more frequently used when it comes to venture capital investing and just any mergers and acquisitions in general. The way to calculate it is different from market cap, since market cap only takes into account of the public's perceived value of the company, whereas enterprise value takes into account the company's debt and cash equivalents, which is why it is more accurate for the purpose of mergers and acquisitions. I will need to make a separate video addressing enterprise value alone, but for now you can just ignore it. Rev stands for revenue, and earnings, this is the net profits after tax for the trailing 12 months, which is the sum of the 4 most recent quarters. EPS percent, this refers to their year-over-year growth for their earnings per share EPS, and DIV percent, this is the dividend yield for the trailing 12 months as well. PE, this is the price to earnings ratio, and lastly, PEG ratio, which is the P ratio divided by the EPS growth. The PEG ratio is a quick and dirty way to tell you whether a company is undervalued or overvalued, as it is a function of its share price and earnings growth. PEG ratio above 1 usually means overvalued, and vice versa, below 1 usually means undervalued. It's not the one for all ratio to value a stock, since it is considered a lagging indicator, but in my opinion, it's a much better ratio compared to PE, since you actually take into account the growth in the PE and the earnings as well. Anyways, that was for stocks. Now let's look at the parameters compared if I choose ETFs based in the US as well as Ireland with mixed industries in it. They are more or less the same: ETF name, ticker, country, sector, and share price denominated in US dollar. NAV stands for net asset value, which is the market value of the ETF's total assets under management less the liabilities. This is somewhat similar to the enterprise value of a stock, where it is the quote-unquote intrinsic value of the ETF as opposed to the ETF's share price, which is the market perceived value. There is no right or wrong for either of them, it's just another way of valuing an ETF rather than just looking at its market valuation. And for the rest of it, EPS growth, dividend yield, PE, PEG ratio, I've covered them earlier. So wrapping up, this global analyst screener in my opinion is far from perfect since they only show you very high level details, and the filters that they provide can be better, such as the ones shown on dedicated ETF screeners like justetf.com. However, I think it is still a great tool, especially for all of us, since there is no need to log into your Interactive Brokers account just to quickly check whether a particular stock or ETF is traded on the platform. And if there is, you can always dive deeper by logging into your account, right? Alright, that is all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay invested, and as usual, I will see you in the next one.